happened with this Democrat lunatic, Senator Padilla, and Kristi Noem today, okay? Everything the Democrats are doing right now, it's the Trump derangement syndrome is like the knee-jerk thing everybody says, and there's certainly an element of that. But the Democrats are in a panic, okay? The Democrat Party is evaporating, okay? The Americans in their party have left for Trump and MAGA. And it's being run by radical leftist lunatics. Many of the most high-profile ones are more concerned about people in other countries than their own constituents that are Americans. And they're in a desperate mode right now to try to regain relevancy. And the Democrats, remember, the late, great Rush Limbaugh said all the time, the Democrats have that old playbook. Every time something happens, they go back and run the same old plays from that worn-out old playbook. Remember, Rush used to talk about that a lot. And everything the Democrats are doing, right, this Padilla, No More Kings, right, their Schoolhouse Rock ripoff this weekend, everything they're doing, they're trying to make themselves a victim by creating incidents, and then blaming us for them, okay? They're going out, instigating things, and trying to get a response, and then blame us. Kristi Noem is the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security at a time when the threat level against her is at an incredible high for someone in that office. In fact, the threat level against Kristi Noem right now may be higher than any other Homeland Security Secretary we've ever had. Remember, we did not have Homeland Security on 9/11. And the threat is internal with what's going on around the country. You guys have seen this. Padilla is not one of the famous household names and faces in the Senate. There's some senators that are very famous, that are household names and household faces. He's not. He's a third-rate guy that most people never heard of. And if you saw him at a store, you wouldn't even think he was vaguely familiar. What are these security agents? I don't know if they're Secret Service or Homeland. Well, Homeland, Secret Service is under Homeland. I'm not sure if those were Secret Service agents, who those, the protective detail around Kristi Noem was that took him down. But what are they supposed to do? Let some guy who looks like he's a migrant possibly, they don't know who he is, rush up to the Secretary of Homeland Security, who's under major threat right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. And, you know, in what world is the way he behaved properly, right? Here she is having a press conference, and he waited. He wanted those TV cameras off to get the time to get the video all over the news and go viral. Well, he's going viral for looking like an idiot. So this is the first of many, and this is why I was saying today, conservatives, stay away from these No King protests. Don't go anywhere near any of these protests or demonstrations anywhere. The left are trying to, I mean, look what happened. He's going up there to not just a cabinet secretary, but a woman. And when the security go and stops him, what does he do? He resists. You or I would get arrested for that. Get arrested. He's not going to get arrested because he's a United States senator. So, no, this is the beginning of the tactic of the left. And these Democrats all over the country are going to try to pull stunts like he pulled today. This is going to become their new ice bucket challenge. And I thought Kristi Noem handled it brilliantly. You know, she said, I got calls into Gavin Newsom, and he hasn't called me back. Right? She wants to meet with him. Is she going to go rush him on at a podium when Newsom's doing a press conference? People would say she's an idiot. I'm surprised that, you know, United States senators are higher up, right? House members, they're a big deal too, but unless you're like the speaker, a House member, a lower level elected official, really. United States senators are supposed to be on a higher level of respectability, you know? And for a United States senator to act like a lunatic like that, and who's he advocating for? Is he advocating for Americans, or is he advocating for Latin South Americans? Looks like he thinks he represents South Americans, not United States of Americans. So, you know, this is what happens with what's going on with the Democrats right now. This is what happens when you have a party that has been not just powerful, they've been abusing their power. Not just the last 4 years, they've been abusing their power for 150 years, okay? And now they see their party fading away into irrelevancy and non-existence. We have a great American president right now, the first president, Donald Trump, to put Americans and America above anything else in any of our lifetimes. You know, all these other Republicans, before Trump came down the escalator, all promise all this crap, and they do nothing, right? He is the only one who's keeping campaign promises, accomplishing the Republican platform, and standing up to these lunatics, and they can't stand it. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And, you know, I was talking about this morning, and I just did an interview on Newsmax that I just ended a few minutes ago, and that'll be airing soon. And I said this on Newsmax. And, you know, what the Democrats are trying to do is not just create incidents like this Joker did today and then try to blame us for it. They're going to go and get in a position where they instigate the military that are in these different cities. They're trying to recreate Kent State. And if you're not familiar with Kent State, Google it, look it up. They're trying, that was, you know, those college students at Kent State, it was a terrible thing that happened, but they attacked the National Guardsmen at Kent State. They instigated, they were throwing things at the National Guard. Now, back then, we didn't have, you know, cell phones and, you know, live streaming and any of that stuff. The technology didn't exist yet. But if it did, we would see what was really going on out there. And, you know, so they're trying to recreate that. And they want to create instances around the country that they can blame us for, right? So that they can have, you know, so they can have the illusion of a platform, and it's not going to work. I thought Padilla looked like an idiot today. I mean, and you know, it looked desperate. Desperate. You know, when you're a sitting United States senator, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And you can command the respect all over the place, even if you're a Democrat, if you're a sitting United States senator. And for him to act like that, he really, the Republicans, we control the Senate, he should be censured, and they really need to do, you know, we were talking today on the program, is this an insurrection? And it is. And what he did today against Kristi Noem was part of an insurrection. They are, you know, they have a place in the Senate where they can air their grievances. Now, Padilla, he's probably going to be on MSNBC and CNN around the clock for the next few days. He'll be the new celebrity, victim of the Democrats, trying to rush a podium where we have a female cabinet secretary speaking. And out of all the cabinet members, she probably has more protection than any of them except the vice president, because she's running Homeland Security with everything that's going on right now. And to behave that way towards a woman, what is her Secret Service detail supposed to do? Right? Here you've got, you're on the protective, what would you do? You're on the protective detail of the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. You're out in California. You've got this battle for LA going on, and some guy who's Hispanic tries to get to her. What they did was right. What they did was right, and the way he behaved was wrong. No question about it. Yeah. Exactly. The left they're done. They're done. And, you know, a lot of the panic that they're having, it's not just that their party's evaporating. With Elon Musk and Doge shutting down USAID, a lot of that money that they get on the side that they're not supposed to, all that corruption money, a lot of it's been cut off. So they're not getting their money like they used to get their money too. So, you know, when you're not getting your money that you think you're entitled to, you know, it causes a panic among them too. Yeah. I mean, why would anyone be a Democrat today? Who do the Democrats really represent? Do they represent any Americans anymore? I don't think so. When is the last time you heard a Democrat advocate for an American? Not a South American, a United States of American. Can you think of one? I can't. I can't remember the last time. Desperate people do desperate things, Harley says. Absolutely. Absolutely. They are desperate. You know, the party's over. President Trump, what he's doing, he's planning on deporting every single illegal in this country, don't you know? That's what his plan is. And a lot of them are self-deporting. It's about communism, not illegals. No, with the Democrats, it's always about power. All about the power, all about the money. Gangsta paradise, right? It's about the power, because when they're in power, they can get their money. And they are, not only are they losing power, they're afraid they're never going to regain any of it. When you see these polls that are on CNN. All right. I mean, that's it. It's a desperation to try to hold on to power. So they're trying to create incidents of violence with conservatives and blame the conservatives for them, for the violence. That's what they're trying to do, and then brand us violent. That's why MAGA, that's why conservatives need to stay away from all of these No King events and anything else. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. That's right. President Trump is doing what's best for the country. Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought that the security treated him very well, considering what he was trying to do. You know, there are some senators, everybody knows them. They're famous. You see them, you know who they are. This guy is not well known. He's not that recognizable. And he certainly wasn't acting like a sitting United States senator. He was acting like a lunatic who's leading some La Raza or SEIU demonstration outside of ICE headquarters, right? Was he acting like a United States senator? Hell no. No. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on TV with his arm in a sling later, right? Would you be surprised? I would not. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. I live stream every day. And in the mornings from 6 until 9 a.m., I live stream. I'm on the radio. I take live calls during the stream, so you guys can call me on the phone. I always pin the toll-free number in the live chat when I'm doing that. Yeah. A neck brace? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see him in a neck brace, and arms, his arm in a sling, crutches, I would not be surprised. He's an older guy. He might wake up achy. He can go see Dr. Appleton. Welcome, Harley, to the channel. New subscriber to the channel. So, it's really amazing. See, one of all the problems with Elon Musk, okay? If Elon Musk had not bought Twitter and turned it into X, this incident today, we wouldn't know what the heck happened, like with the laptop, right? Because those old leftist lunatic cancel culture people that were running Twitter would have stopped any of the postings on Twitter about what happened today with Kristi Noem. Harley, $50 super chat. Well, thank you so much, Harley. Thank you for that super chat, and welcome to the channel. You're going to love the channel here, I promise you, Harley. They would have, because if you go on X now, you can see what really happened. They would have banned all that. And they would start banning accounts that were sharing it. And also they've lost control of the media narrative, because the cable news where they spread their false narratives just is not relevant anymore, right? And people like me and you can immediately get out there and share with the world what really is going on. So they're not able to get any false narratives going. That's right. Oh, it's beautiful. Padilla, that's the Senate. So Johnson doesn't oversee the Senate. I've never seen a United States senator act like that. I mean, really, have you? A sitting United States senator? I've seen people in the House act like that. Because in the House, they're up for election every 2 years. They're always in a panic about re-election. So House members are always doing stupid stuff. Senators, since they run every 6 years, they're more chill. It's very unusual to see that. Make sure to speak it. Yeah, he'll probably be, instead of the sign language interpreter, they'll have a Spanish and English interpreter for him, probably. But it really shows you, what I've been talking about on the morning show this week. I was talking about this on Newsmax a little while ago. You'll catch me on Newsmax over the weekend. California has been invaded, much of it conquered, right? It's being occupied by foreign invaders, colonized because they're having children, and their leadership, the mayor of Los Angeles, lifelong communist Karen Bass, and Governor Gavin Newsom are collaborating with this enemy occupying force inside their state. And President Trump sending ICE to LA really has smoked out the Democrats, right? Hasn't it? The whole country is seeing what they're really about and who they represent and who they advocate for, and they just don't care about Americans. I hope that they try to give them American flags. Then you'll really get to see how much they hate the country. You take those Mexican flags away from these Antifa and these lunatics that are out there in Los Angeles, and you give them American flags, they're going to do one of two things with it: burn it, or throw it in the garbage can. That's how liberals roll. Yep. Welcome everyone. Yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new. This is the most pro-MAGA, pro-Trump space you'll find anywhere. I promise you. But when everything was said and done after the last election, I said, President Trump having a non-consecutive second term is going to be much better than back-to-back. And because what's happened, it's not just that we had the 4 years of suffering, okay, under this senile old coot in the auto pen committee, but people saw what they did to President Trump these last 4 years, and he has a mandate. He has a mandate. Everything that you see going on now is why we elected Donald Trump. He is doing exactly what we elected him to do. And Democrats are not used to Republicans doing what they say they're going to do when they get in office or standing up to them. And he's doing all of it. And they have no play here. None. The DNC has just destroyed themselves with this David Hogg disaster. That was beautiful. David Hogg just did so. He's such a narcissist. He would never see it, but he's done so much damage to the. Did you hear that? The audio of the head of the DNC whining to David Hogg. Nobody knows who I am. I'm trying to do things and I have no power because of you. Here he is whining, a grown man to a child. David Hogg. This is the metrosexualization of the American Democrat. The Constitution has been amended many, many times, and it can be amended again to allow more than 2 terms. I would love to see President Trump president for life. Right. My wife was telling me about the Kennedy Center last night. These dumbass actors, right? We're not going to go out there and perform for Trump. So all the understudies that never get to go got to do a presidential performance. That's awesome. And you notice the understudies didn't say, we're not doing this. They went out there. They should fire all the leads and let the understudies take over after that display. And what do they think they're doing? What point? Who were the actors? Were there any famous actors, Kathy? I didn't hear the names of any famous actors. Give me a break. MAGA America. That is correct. Nancy Pelosi, please. Ringing off the hook. So I'm going to take off. But if you're new, make sure you subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.